All right, taking a look at your AFC playoff picture. See where that math leads us. The Big Red Machine, 9-0. A thriller on Sunday, and a massive result on the other side of it with the Broncos now an even 500. If the season were to end, we know it doesn't. Still inside that playoff picture, but each and every one of these games matter. The Bills, Steelers, Texans rounding out your division leaders, and how about the Ravens in a wild card slot sitting at 7-3? Emory, as you take a look at that group, wild card and beyond, circle a team for me that offers you a little bit of intrigue in the weeks to come.
Cincinnati Bengals, and here's the reason why we talked about this before. They have tremendous talent, offensive talent. They can score the ball. They seem to have figured things out. I know they just lost to Baltimore, but at the end of the day, they put up 30-plus points against Baltimore twice. So that shows you they have the ability to score against anyone. I know Baltimore's defense is not Baltimore's defense, but it's still a good football team overall. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is a team that's going to find a way to, slowly climb the ladder. Because right now, you look at the Denver Broncos who are playing well, but I think that's funny money. And so if there's a team to catch that 7th seed, it might be Cincinnati, because I think the Chargers have solidified themselves. Cincinnati
playing some really good football, or at least their best of the season. They got to start squeezing results out of these games, Douz. What's the result that you're looking at from Sunday? Maybe a team that, when they do look back on this in Week 18, whether on the right side or the wrong side of it, that they look back at a result here from Sunday and say, that was a moment, that was a watershed, that either sent us the right direction or the wrong direction?
I'm going to go with a team we talked about earlier, the LA Chargers, which have a massive game coming up versus those Cincinnati Bengals, and we'll learn a little bit more about the Chargers here over the next 4 weeks. I know a lot of people assume that it would take maybe a year for Jim Harbaugh to really turn this team around, but when you look at his history, he's been able to do it extremely fast. And then when you look at them just compared to everybody else in the AFC in that playoff picture, Moose and Emory, there's a sort of talent deficiency when you talk about their team. They've gotten the most out of the talent on their roster. We talked about Jesse Minter and how he has this defense flying around, his defensive coordinator, I believe only giving up around 13 points per game. And again, when you look at the names on the back of the jerseys, they aren't star names, right? But I love how everybody has heightened their play on the defensive side. And then when you look at what they've done on offense, first couple games really epitomizes what Jim Harbaugh wants his team to do, right? Be physical in the trenches, run the football. But we've seen Justin Herbert in an uptick passing the ball down the field over these last few games. Now, I didn't throw it a ton today. It was a nice mixture of run and pass, and they were able to get it done versus the Tennessee Titans. But that's a sneaky team, I think, just because of how they've been able to play defense this year.
We're not breaking any news. We're not sharing any secrets, but it is a week-to-week league in the NFL. The greater goal is to take down that Big Red Machine, still undefeated. Now, when you look at those teams at the top of the division, there's some serious talent there. You're looking at a Ravens team that might be, outside of their pass defense, the best version that we've seen under the tutelage of Lamar Jackson. You're looking at a Bills team that seems to have no signs of slowing down right now. What are those types of teams, that echelon of teams that you expect to maybe be there on Championship Sunday? What are they doing right now to prepare in the back of their heads for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Load up on depth, because we know like you said, it's a long season, and at the end of the day, you better have multiple ways to win ball games. So you see a Pittsburgh Steelers go out and get Mike Williams because you need multiple wide receivers to help out your passing game. Then you go and see Lamar Jackson continue to add receivers, because you have to find multiple ways to find success. Defensively, you look at Buffalo, their run game is what has gotten them to where they are, because now they are balanced. And defensively, they're opportunistic. So I think teams understand, in order to get Kansas City, you better have depth, and your coaches better be like Dan Campbell, that's going to keep the message being the message to help you stay on track.
I thought you were going to say hand warmers. It's going to be cold in KC or Buffalo or Baltimore. Let's take a look at that NFC playoff picture here real quick, fellas, as we do this same thought experiment. Again, Week 10, we are beyond halfway there, which means we start to look at the grand destination.
Now, why the Giants here?
How about it? They made the graphic. It's just because there's that many spaces on the graphic.
You're wrong for that,
2-8. That's on Emory. That's not on me. The Lions, massive, as they become the only 8-win team in the conference. The Eagles, a big win as well. No contest against the Cowboys. Falcons remain 6-4 despite Younghoe Koo leaving points on the field in what ultimately became a loss. And how about the Cardinals? Still edging out the 49ers with their win. All right, so picture here, I don't know if just knee-jerk reaction, a bit more muddy than the one in the AFC. And again, could get interesting on both sides of this, and I'm sure it will, Deuce. But when you look at that graphic, first thing that comes to mind is what?
NFC West, without a doubt. The three teams fighting to get into the playoffs. When you look at the LA Rams, you look at the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks, people are wondering, when will this Cardinals team not play as well, right? They got a boatload of divisional games coming up. I think 4 out of their next 7 games are divisional games. So we'll learn what this NFC West is about. And can one of those other teams become a wild card team? When you look at the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings holding down those other wild card spots, will one of those two teams have an implosion? We've seen Jordan Love get beat up. They're going to be coming off a bye off of this past week. We've seen Sam Darnold really struggle the last couple of weeks turning the football over. But the crazy thing is, Emory and Moose, those teams continue to win football games, even though that they've struggled at the quarterback position the last few weeks. So that NFC West is going to be fun to watch, because maybe only one team gets in, and it would be a travesty because all 4 of those teams have played well at spurts throughout the season. We see San Francisco finally getting healthy. Jawan Jennings was big for them. Christian McCaffrey, they kind of eased him back into the offense. The Seahawks will be coming off a bye. They just had a crucial, tough loss last week to the LA Rams, and the LA Rams got healthy at the right time when you look at Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp coming back. So I can't wait to see how this finishes in the NFC West.
I got to tip my cap to our guy B-Mac. He had, after that win 2 weeks ago, LA more in that conversation than most others did, and they can do the right thing on a Monday night, they might be even closer to that ultimate goal. Emory, I know attention is always divided when you got 8 games at once here on Sundays. Who has your undivided attention as we move forward in the NFC?
The NFC South. Because after what we saw today in the Superdome between the Falcons and the Saints, this thing ain't over. You got the Falcons, the Saints, and Bucks just kind of sitting there like they're all the same team. And it's funny because we talked about Kirk Cousins in the playoff game against the Giants throwing the ball short of the sticks on 4th down. Guess what he did today? Threw the ball short of the sticks on 4th down. And the Saints, and I'm not saying that the Saints are going to find a way to make this thing a win-win for the Gipper type deal and get into the postseason, but I'm more looking at the Bucks like, man, you have the division at your disposal. You have a chance. You had a good quarterback in Baker Mayfield. You got good backs. Then you start to look back at the games they lost. They dropped this one, and they dropped that one against Kansas City. And now, if you're outside looking in, these 2 games will come back to haunt you if you're Tampa Bay, because this should be their division, in my opinion.
Opinions are subject to change.
Hold on, Moose.
Yeah?
We just not going to put some respect on Carolina's name? They won 2 in a row, Emory.
Hey, listen. They deserve to be in the graphic more than the Giants do, right? Like,
they beat them.
I'm just saying, they've won 2 in a row.
You could have put the Birmingham Stallions in that graphic before you put the New York Giants. 3-time UFL champion. I was going to get it in.
I think that might have been alphabetically situated there with the 2-win teams. We will sort out. We have plenty of weeks from here until the finish line to get that settled, but Carolina is, in fact,
they're in the South
on a winning streak. Lige Douzable, Emory Hunt, we appreciate you guys here taking a look down the road at the playoff pictures.